Gather around, my friends. Come close, for tonight I will share with you one of the most powerful stories the Master ever told. A parable, yes, but more than a tale, a mirror, a lesson, a whisper of heaven's heart. It is the story of the prodigal son, found in Luke chapter 15, verses 11 through 32. There was a man who had 2 sons. One day the younger son came to his father and said he wanted his share of the inheritance. Early, before the father had passed on, a bold and selfish thing to ask. But the father gave it to him. The young man left home and traveled far away. There he wasted all that he had on reckless living, foolish choices, fleeting pleasures, people who smiled while the money flowed and vanished when it ran dry. Eventually, he had nothing. A famine came. He became so desperate, he took a job feeding pigs. He was so hungry, he wanted to eat the food meant for them. In his despair, he remembered his father's house. Even the servants there lived better than this. So he decided to return, not to reclaim his place as a son, but just to beg for work, to say, "I'm not worthy, let me be your servant." But as he walked home, while he was still far off, his father saw him, and the father ran to him. He embraced him. He kissed him. The son began to apologize, but the father didn't even let him finish. He called for the best robe, a ring, sandals. He threw a feast and said, "My son was dead and is alive again. He was lost and now is found." But not everyone was joyful. The older brother, the one who had stayed home and worked hard, was angry. He said, "I've been faithful all these years. You never gave me a feast. But now this son of yours comes back after wasting everything, and you celebrate him?" And the father replied, "My son, you are always with me. Everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate and be glad, because your brother was lost and is found. He was dead, and now he lives." Now, what do you think of that? Some say it's unfair, and I understand why. The older brother worked hard, stayed loyal, followed the rules, and the younger one wasted it all, then came back and got a party. But that's the thing. This story is not about fairness. It's about joy. You see, when something we thought was dead turns out to be alive, when something lost is found, it sparks a kind of joy that fairness can't explain. When a child who wandered into darkness returns home with a changed heart, it brings tears to the eyes of their parents. Not anger, not bitterness, just relief and joy. When someone walks away from sin and chooses the light, God doesn't meet them with a scolding. He meets them with celebration, because they are no longer heading toward eternal death. Think of someone doing something foolish, something dangerous, and yet they survive. It doesn't matter how unwise their choices were. We're just glad they're alive. So no, this story isn't about what people deserve. It's about the kind of joy that bursts forth when mercy wins, when repentance is real, when what was nearly lost forever is suddenly back. That, my friends, is the heart of God. Not cold fairness, but overflowing joy when one soul turns back toward the light. Now, which son are you? Or perhaps you've been both.